Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at a secondary build in 8.0.1. Now, it is in the Massachusetts B. This is the Tier 8 Premium American Battleship, and it's a monster. This game was an awesome game, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, I haven't run many secondary builds since 8.0 came out, because advanced firing training is horrible for anything other than secondaries, and it requires a dedicated commander for me. I used to be able to use advanced firing training as a secondary focus skill and also an AA focus skill, but I can't do that because the AA component is so weak. Now advanced firing training is quite literally only for secondary or main battery small caliber range. I just can't in good faith recommend advanced firing training. The flak DPS component is just weaker from the range increase. But, you know, we're going to see a great game. Some of you might remember that I used the excuse, oh, you don't need IFHE, you got more than enough penetration. But I would always use IFHE in my 127s because it was on the edge. 20 millimeters of penetration is adequate for DDs. But a little bit more would be better, because it's going to cover all of the weird oddities that the DD may or may not have as a, turret armor or superstructure or anything like that. I'm more than safe on penetration for DDs. The extra 7 millimeters of penetration, though, crosses a lot of cruiser thresholds and also battleship. Any battleship that's tier 7 or below, I can pin their bow or stern. Before, I couldn't. I couldn't do that. So it ends up being pretty good. It ends up feeling awesome. And hopefully this game is a great example of that. Now, there is no aircraft carrier in the game, but I've got a plan for that. I got my fighter instead of my scout aircraft. I can also, if there was an aircraft carrier in the game, I have my priority sector set, and I would actively maneuver. One of the great things about the Massachusetts, and this is one thing I think they should consider, is introducing that fast rearm heal for anyone that is truthfully trying to make secondaries work, because it helps so much with the aggression. Now, I've got a friendly division mate, Mars Regulator. He's in his Bismarck, another secondary built ship, and we're just going to work together as well as we can to wear out the enemy. He has his hydroacoustic up, and he's able to dodge the torpedoes very nicely, but he's really far forward. Now, I could keep my secondaries on the Sims, and I was considering that. I will be contributing my main battery to the Sims for sure, at the very least, because the DDs, no matter how overextended a battleship may or may not be, always go for the DD. It's obviously the most important target, and if he's this wide open and vulnerable, absolutely. So I was concerned a little bit that I was opening too much, so I wanted to soften that angle against the Monarch, or actually make it more pronounced so he can't pin me or hurt me too much. Even if he's firing HE, having the angle slightly there allows me to feather my throttle just right, that if I catch it just precisely, angling in the right moment, it will throw off a shot. But clearly, friendlies are able to finish off the Sims. I'm trying desperately to keep the Bismarck alive. There's not enough people that really invest in their teammates, I find, in World of Warships still. They're too busy farming their own damage and doing their own thing. So I'm really trying hard to play the right way. So I was 100% all in on finishing off that enemy battleship before he did any more damage to the friendly Bismarck. Yeah, the Bismarck is pretty overextended. He's probably going to die. But the longer he can stay alive, the longer I can do free damage. It's a lightning rod for every single enemy and their focus fire. If they're focusing another target than me, I can be more aggressive in my punishment. I've always seen the game work that way, but not enough people recognize that situation. And honestly, I think it's because they're not, picking up skills like priority target that tell you in real time who the enemy is actually targeting. There's an enemy Scharnhorst at A point behind that giant island, and this enemy Leona, the tier 6 premium unreleased Italian DD, is on the western flank, and I have my secondary set up, and Alaska just devastatingly struck that guy. Good job, Alaska. Detonated him. Clearly he wasn't running a detonation flag. And you might be wondering, why didn't he get a detonation achievement? Because it's an unreleased premium. unreleased premiums do not earn achievements. Now, the game doesn't look very good from this point of view. We are down on ships, we are down on bases, and I don't want to contribute any more to that, so I'm going to get a little bit of distance from the Scharnhorst, and we're going to fire at the waterline. And we are going to get a ton of damage firing at the waterline. I prefer to sort of go for the bulk amount of shells rather than go all in on a citadel, especially in instances where I just need to get good damage. I don't want to be special. You don't have to try too hard to be all sick. I always shake my head at the typical battleship who will fire at a opposing battleship with his AP at the waterline against an angled target. Just go superstructure. You're guaranteed damage and you're guaranteed to contribute. You don't want to have all your shells bounce off harmlessly and do no damage, right? Yeah, that doesn't feel good. But we contribute to taking out the enemy Scharnhorst. Secondaries are set up on the Colorado. While that's going on, I'm considering, do I want to fire on the Graf Spee? Don't really know that I do. The Colorado looks to be taking a torpedo. There's also an enemy Gnevny that just showed up. Well, 10,000 against the Colorado is good. Reassign my secondaries to this Gnevny. So he's going to be trying to get in torpedo range. Torpedo range for the Gnevny, it's about 4 kilometers. And every single salvo of my secondaries is taking off about 1,000 health or so. My main battery is available and ready to go. Oh, I just want to hit him with everything. We actually dunk way too many into the water, and I'm very vulnerable. But look at the secondaries. Unfortunately, we don't finish the target, but he's basically dead. One torpedo set, the second one, we're able to turn inside of it. Once I confirm the turn inside, use my damage control. I'm really hoping my secondaries will actually fire on the Colorado and finish him off. Unfortunately, we don't get that kill. Alaska gets that kill, and that's a kill steal. I've got to get that back from him. Somehow, maybe a target in the future, we'll see. Oh, Graf Spee catches a bunch of shells, and his torpedoes, they miss. I'm able to dodge right as the torpedoes were in view. AA shoots down everything. Of course, the Massachusetts AA is still great. And we're just waiting. He does have the ability to torpedo from this side, so I am absolutely aware of that. And it looks like our secondaries were enough to finish the target off. We get a second, or a first, close quarter expert. Yeah, I missed out on that one on the Colorado. I forgot. We're going to be able to capture this base, and we've just turned a 3-ship disadvantage into a 2-ship advantage. Just like that. As a team. Everyone did a great job. I'm going to contribute more to move towards these enemy Bismarck in this North Carolina and see if we can finish out the game. We've done 150,000 damage so far. And a lot of it has been in secondaries. A surprising amount. And that is primarily because accuracy, range, and penetration. Normally, IFHE is not recommended for battleships. There's a great big X through it on your commander skill tree. And the reason there's a huge X through that is because they are considering your effectiveness of the main battery. They don't really care about the effectiveness of the secondary battery. But I could tell you, based on this game, I would not change a single point in my commander. Every single point contributed a ton to this game, and it ended up being really fun. Really, really fun. So let's get in there. We are almost in range of our secondaries on the Bismarck. I am obviously spotted because I don't have any concealment skills other than the concealment module. Why take the concealment module over the target acquisition? Well, for me, I look at it as the dispersion reduction of accuracy that it also has is beneficial to a secondary build. So either way, that module is contributing. Whether it's the very shallow, barely noticeable concealment, or it's the dispersion penalty introduced to the enemies. Secondaries are set up on the Bismarck, firing at the waterline, maintaining a slight angle, and we do 15,000. He does nothing to me. Very, very little damage, in fact. And man, the secondaries are just going off. The heal is completely available. Haven't had to use a fighter more than maybe once to spot over an island. So we've got plenty of resources that can also contribute to the AA if that's ever an issue. This Bismarck, though, he showed up to the wrong fight. He absolutely showed up to the wrong fight. And I think, are we going to be able to kill him? I think he used damage control secondaries. Yes, the secondaries finish him off. Close quarter expert once again. We're going to engage the North Carolina, who's trying to finish off the friendly Colorado in the south side. And he is, oh, he's so vulnerable. I don't know why these guys played the way they did, but they just did not respect the targets that were around them. They just didn't. They didn't, and it's costing them greatly. Now, the North Carolina just finished off the friendly Colorado. He's going to try and turn to address me. In response, I'm going to have a slight nose angle, and I'm hoping that he'll over-angle and I can blap back with a finishing shot. Yep, here we go. He's going to fire on me. Does pretty good damage. I aim at the waterline. We knock out his gun, and we earn Kraken Unleashed. Just walloped him. Obliterated him. Felt so great to kill that guy so quickly. But where's the DD? Where could he be? Last spotted position was at B. And clearly, I'm still spotted, even though my concealment has bloomed down to 14.5. So there could be a risk any direction. I could be taking a torpedo. Since it's a German, it has good torpedo range, so I have to consider that. But I do have a lot of friendlies that are around me. So one of the things that makes secondary go is the added benefit of having teammates around you. They help screen for torpedoes, provide a 2 versus 1, more targets for friendlies to fire on, and more targets for you to help as they absorb damage, either meant for your ship or someone else. And the trend of the current play, grouping up to counter aircraft, that works very well with secondaries as well. So I can't wait to play some more, see if I can find any more success than I already did with the Massachusetts. I know that the Massachusetts is an extreme outlier, and the queue could not have been more perfect. This matchmaking was just so easy for myself and also Alaska to exploit. Our ships are just so powerful and knock out the enemy in Baltimore. Nothing he could do, of course. Oh, somehow the enemy destroyer was able to sneak by and is capturing A point. I don't know. How did he get by us? We had the Hatsuharu in the north. We had the Hatsuharu in the south. We had myself. We had the friendly Otago. I don't know how he got by. I'm going to go after him, though. And that was me verifying that, yeah, he has torpedo range. It is something I have to consider. But man, 389 shells, secondary shells, made contact with the enemy. 7 fires. I know we did a ton of damage because the secondaries were visibly chunking the enemy. 500 to 1,000 every second or two, especially against the DDs. It was like 1,000 damage per salvo. That's what I love about the secondaries. If you are someone who is in a battleship, obviously you have a really long reload cycle, and the secondaries help cover that up a little bit against the DDs. So we're moving forward, clearly spotted. That means the enemy has not, concealed himself behind an island or anything like that, and he probably has sent torpedoes. So one good technique is to change your direction every 5 or 10 seconds. You just change it slightly. You want to look and appear as if you're not going to change, but then you make an adjustment. And oh, he almost predicted accurately. I needed to be a little bit more aggressive in just actively maneuvering without seeing the torpedoes for myself, but we were able to dodge just in the nick of time. And now I'm not spotted anymore. So that tells me somehow the Ernst Geda was able to send torpedoes and then get behind an island. So what would be the most obvious direction? Either he was headed north to south or south to north. And I think he was headed north to south, so I expect him to pop out. Yep, I expect him to pop out on the south side, which he does. I could set my secondaries up, but hopefully the guns are enough. the guns are. That is our 7th kill, and that is a monster carry in the Massachusetts B in 8.0. I hope you enjoyed seeing this ship. I love this skin, I love this ship, and I love this build. 229,000 damage. Confederate, 2 close quarter experts. Kraken Unleashed, 7 kills, 2,365 base XP. Between myself and Alaska, 10 kills, and a super carry for our team. It was a real pleasure to be this dominant, and I wish I could compliment Alaska. He was laughing because I unfortunately stole a couple kills from him. Colorado kill Alaska. I think we both stole from each other. Our secondaries did 100,000 damage, 74,000 just straight secondary damage, and then another 24,000 in fires. Absolutely insane. This build worked beautifully. It could not have worked better, and it was the first game in 8.0 with this build on my Massachusetts. So clearly something worked, and I'm not going to change it until something forces me to. I hope you enjoyed seeing this secondary ship in 8.0. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.